Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, unless we have a guest on, and we'll start at 9 a.m. or unless we have cocktails with the critters, which I think we had. I don't know if that was last week or the week before, but that was a lot of fun. Cocktails with the critters happens on Saturday nights. We do it about once every 2 months, and where all the viewers get to come on live and talk to each other and meet each other and have a lot of fun. So, for those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower animals and the people that care for them. And you can find, good morning, Sylvia, you can find out more about our services on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Good morning, Therese, who's been working hard all night. You'll see why here shortly. Um, if you want to find out about the events that we do, I do a lot of public speaking. You can find that on our website or right here on our Facebook page under events. And if you want to be alerted or notified of what's new, what's coming up, events, workshops, tips and training, um, or webinars, whatever you want to know, you can sign up for our email newsletter list, which I try to send information out every week. And it's usually on, hey, Terry, good to see you. Which is, what was I saying? We usually send it out in our webinars. On our email newsletters. So for those that may be new, I focus on applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement with animals, getting animals to want to do and reinforce the behaviors I need them to do without having to use force or coercion. And because we know the side effects of doing that. A couple of things before we get started. I've started up my live stream webinars again. We're going to do those on a variety of species, a variety of topics in the science of behavior. You can find those on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com underneath webinars, which is right at the top of the page. So we just did this one, I believe it was a week and a half ago. We're working on our next one, which is a different species. And you can, if you're on our email newsletter list, you'll know all about it. Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on before I get started? Two more photos before I get started on this week's topic. We just announced our zoo workshops. Therese has been working all night last night getting a link ready for you. Our zoo workshops, there's several different workshops we have where we teach people how to understand how to work with animals, a variety of different species of animals. We teach them how to understand using applied behavior analysis and focus on the things that are going to help you train at home. So our workshops are for everybody. This link was just published, right, Therese? Thank you for working on that last night so I can mention it today. Our zoo workshops sell out really quickly. And usually with a waiting list. So if you visit this link, you will see there's a variety of different workshops that we're offering. I want to make sure everybody in each workshop is at the same experience level. And I know a lot of you are clicking on this link and you're no longer paying attention to me. And that's fine. But you'll see what I've done to match people up in workshops to make sure they're at the same experience level. Sylvia asked, can I post it in the comments? Let's see. Therese, I'll ask Therese. Therese, will you be able to share that zoo workshop link in the comments? I know we already have a waiting list starting for it for people who people who are on the waiting list for our next workshop, which I'm excited to say is happening next weekend. People start flying in Friday night, and our workshop next weekend has already sold out. And it's on understanding the science of behavior through working with birds. And I picked birds because a lot of people don't understand birds. And that is my point. That is my point. When you are standing in front of animals that you do not understand their behavior, that is where I come in and start teaching you how to understand behavior across species through training and what to look for. So Therese just posted the link and I can now share it right here. Um, so take a look at those. I'll be working on those this week. We do not have the date set, but I'm telling you the first one is going to happen in the middle of June. So you have some work to do on your end before you get registered. I'm back. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. So you have some work to do on your end before um, we get you in those workshops. So let's go ahead and get started on today's topic. And Ray LaStella has positively reinforced my behavior of staying on topic. So I create guidelines now for Coffee with the Critters because I tend to go a million different directions because that's how my brain works. And I can modify through behavior through applied behavior analysis, which is exactly what I'm doing. So let's get started on today's topic, which is what is it? Empowering animals through change. I'm a big believer in this. People ask me all the time, what is the number one piece of advice you can get you can give to people training animals? And there's a couple different really important ones. And this is one that I always say, keep your animals used to change. And that is why one of the main reasons why I train using the type of training technique that I do. Good morning, everybody. So those of you that are familiar with the work that I do at the Animal Behavior Center and are either volunteering or employed through the Animal Behavior Center know that we're constantly changing environments. Um, Stagnant environments, along with stagnant environments, animals will come up with their own forms of enrichment, and it's usually not something we want to see. So one of the importance of keeping your animals used to change is it improves adaptability. Here at my house, I'm living with two animals that have learned to adapt very well. They're both deaf, and one is deaf and blind. Animals who are used to change tend to be more adaptable to new situations and environments, which can be very beneficial in a variety of contexts, such as, and I have photos here. Um, Let me give some real life, everyday examples. If you have an animal that comes up with an injury, we are training for that before it even happens. Levi tore his ACL. This was years ago. He had to wear this cone, which I was sent home with, and I was like, Levi, just get in the back of the car. As soon as I get home, we are going to take that off because this creates major aversives in a lot of behavior issues. So, because it gets caught on things, they walk by the chairs, it drags the chair. If your animal can hear, go like this right now and listen to me. This is how owls hear. Um, it amplifies the sound And all of a sudden, a dog can't really move their head, and they've got this chair now following them. They don't understand. But we can do training to help prepare for something like this. I immediately came home, took this off, and I was just like, this is going to cause so many issues. So even those steps behind him, when he was walking up those steps, it would catch on each step, and I could tell he was getting nervous and afraid, and his behavior was quickly changing. So I needed to prevent that, and Sandy Pratt suggested using one of those inflatable inner tubes around his head. Worked so much better. But when we keep our animals used to change, something like this isn't a big deal. They adapt with changing situations really easily. Another area I put was if your animal is needing medication. So we train for this before it even happens, in training through shaping, reinforcing small approximations towards um, appro- reinforcing small approximations towards the desired behavior. That's consistent change. Shaping is change. Shaping is a form of differential reinforcement. Sylvia says, ditch the routine. Absolutely. With predictability comes boredom. Um, so, other areas that help in where his keeping our animals used to change has come into uh, effect and very important is when we moved. This was a completely new building. This is after working at least 12 hours on moving all the residents of the Animal Behavior Center to a new location. It wasn't, I'm not going to say it was stressless for the animals because some of them sat in crates for a couple of hours. Um, but we trained them while they were in the crates, while we were turning around, helping uh, rebuild the cages, the enclosures. This wasn't a big deal to my animals. This major move was not a big deal to my animals. Like I said, it wasn't stressless, but it wasn't as stressful as it could have been. And this is me on night number 2 of moving into our new location, and Rico is perched comfortably on top of my head. Um, Sylvia says, we are practicing fake eye drops. One dog gets real drops and the other dog gets the motion of the drops for now. I love that. I love that. I did practice that with Quincy. And I was just thinking this morning, I need to really start focusing on working with Snow, our deaf and blind dog, working more. She's ready. She's bored with me because I'm always working at the center. It's not fair to her. I need to come home and work on more leash work and going places with her. Speaking going places with her, it this is my next topic on the importance of empowering animals through change is socialization. I would reach out to a professional when you are thinking about socializing your animal because you want to make sure it's not too much for the animal. You're not taking too big of steps because I've seen a lot of socialization go south really fast. And my concern, I'll explain socialization here in a minute. My concern with that is you take too big of steps, too long periods of time, you are probably unknowingly shaping behavior issues, behavior concerns that you are now going to have to counter condition, meaning retrain. We have several different dog trainers that are on here this morning with us that I highly suggest reaching out to. One is Sylvia Kozerchuk. Another one is Diane Garrett. I think I saw Daphne on here as well. Diane says, working with a dog now who has OCD behaviors because routine changes do not occur. Change in pre teaching to what could occur in real life is really important. Yes, thank you. And thank you guys for being on here to help back up the message that I'm sending. Um, so socialization happens with so much more than just dogs. I worked on this with my dogs at a very young age. You can work on this as well with older animals at older ages. Um, so I did have a concern when all 3 of my dogs were puppies. When I was like, let's see what kind of socialization classes are out there. And I was very critical because one that I attended was pushing their puppies too far. It was too long. It was going into 40 minutes. So I started coming up with excuses. I lied. And I was just like, hey, just got a call. Gotta go check on my grandma. We're out of here. My grandma lives 2 hours away. Anyways, because I saw puppies not being comfortable, but you can do socialization. I just had somebody reach out to me the other day wanting to work on socialization. There's so many different ways you can do this. And I don't know why I have this photo up right now, but um, improper socialization, introducing them to new things. That is what socialization is all about. New sounds, new sights, new textures, new smells, and making sure you're not pushing them too far, and knowing when it's time to, all right, let's take a break. So, what behavior issues it helps prevent behavior issues such as excessive barking, consistent screaming, abnormal repetitive behaviors such as I work with a lot of exotic animals. And what I'll see is a lot of pacing, rocking, flipping, chewing on cage bars, licking the walls, licking the windows. I also have down here some things I see: excessive grooming, feather destructive behaviors. These can turn into medical behaviors, excessive sexual stimulation. I see that a lot with exotic animals when there's nothing else for them to do, or it's inappropriate, or if they're pushing the phone went out. Can you guys still hear me okay? Um, I will keep going. Um, I just have a feeling it just switched to my phone. Let me grab my phone real quick. Because I heard my phone make a noise. So, anyways, okay, good. You can still hear me. All right. I went and grabbed my phone, anyways. So, I see a lot of these abnormal repetitive behaviors with a lot of exotic animals, a lot of different animals. Um, if your dog, this is a common one, is barking at absolutely every noise it hears, you may want to contact a professional and start getting to work. So, another one I have listed here, I got a picture of my brother coming up. I didn't ask him if I could post it. It helps reduce stress. Keeping your animals used to consistent change helps reduce stress or prevent stress. Consistent exposure can help animals develop coping mechanisms that reduce stress and anxiety when faced with new or unexpected situations. And I have written down here, our lives change. Um, I give this example all the time because I had a relative that got very sick and ended in, I had to leave and I was gone for days. He ended up passing away. I was gone for days for his funeral. And my animals were prepared for it because I already shaped them for that. Here's my picture of my brother because I have written down our lives can change, our caretakers can change, the people that are taking care of the animals can change. And sometimes you have new caretakers, separation anxiety. You want to be extremely careful with that. Um, and another one, it enhances socialization. Animals who are used to change are often, here's Levi in his socialization class. Animals who are used to change are often more socialized and comfortable around new people, new animals, and changing environments, which can improve their quality of life and overall well being. Socializing while young helps prevent these any fearful situations in the future. And a lot of times fear means the animal doesn't have enough information or it doesn't understand the information in front of it. Here's Milo, our pig. I needed him socialized because I know what some of the main behavior issues are with pigs kept as companions as they get older. There's if their environment is not changing, and so many times with pigs, I see it not changing. You're going to see charging, head swiping, lunging, biting. They get those big long tusks. With Milo, I never trimmed him. I just taught him not. I just never put him in situations to teach him how to use them to defend himself. You saw the I have to get creative to keep my animals used to change because their environment doesn't I can't take them out as much as I want. So in my situation, I will bring do I have a slide for this? People into the center. Yes, I do. Um, this is why and that's not why, but it's one of the ways the Autism Model School, when they come in, which I just had a meeting with them the other day, so be prepared and watch because they're coming back. Um, this changing environment, the animals, I mean, the kids coming in, the teachers coming in. Sometimes we'll have open houses, and we're just talking about having an open house for friends and family that's going to come up here this summer. This helps keep our animals used to their environment changing. Um, something is with animals who are living in enclosures, just changing the color of a nail polish could be something. If they don't understand it, they can lunge and bite you for it. You guys are talking, I'm always adding new activities to our home. um, and once this live stream is over, I will go back and comment on what everybody is mentioning that I'm not addressing right now. So, keeping our animals used to change facilitates training. Animals who are used to change tend to be more receptive to training and new experiences, which can make it easier for caretakers and trainers to teach them new skills or behaviors. I see this all the time. A lot of times I will see the animals that I'm working with anticipate the training because with the training becomes changing environments, new experiences. This is Molly sitting on a scale asking me for training to start. And this is one of the main reasons why I like to train is because it engages the animal mentally and physically, and something's constantly changing. With our training, it can be the same old training. It gets boring, redundant, and you'll see your animals abandon the training session. So, coming up on some of the last slides here, it boosts the animal's confidence. Consistent exposure to change can help animals develop confidence in their abilities and ability to handle new situations, improving their overall sense of well-being. This is the reason why I take Rico for walks. It's why I have visitors come in the center. Um, let's see. Oh, yep. Um, And Therese says, Isaac, her dog, tells her all the time he wants to train. And it helps in situations. You guys have heard me talk about how I've used training as physical therapy for Priscilla, the alligator. Um, if I hadn't trained her prior to her injury, the training would have been so slow, it wouldn't have been able to happen as fast as I wanted it to prepare her for using her leg again, building strength up in that leg. Um, and training, I've got a video I don't think I've ever shown you guys. I don't think I've ever shown anybody, and it's so cute. I'm trying to remember the name of this African crested porcupine. It encourages mental stimulation. Exposure to change provides animals with mental stimulation enrichment, preventing boredom, promoting overall health and happiness. And I don't know if this has sound on it, but this is this young African crested porcupine getting excited about changes in the environment, learning how to use the quills. The quills would stand up and shake, and it was fun to watch her stack into things and hop around. We used to call this hammer time. So we would constantly put different things in
That's
her
what you call it,
enclosure
porcupine hammer time.
and keep her used to change. We taught her to station on a blanket. She's got
Hammer time.
foraging toys in there. And we would train her. She enjoyed the training. I know I don't want to get killed by a porcupine. And this porcupine is going to grow to be very large. So while they're young, I'm taking advantage and teaching them uh, changing environments can be a good thing. Don't ever punish curiosity. When I see a curious animal, I try not to uh, push the animal too far, because when I see curiosity, I know I'll have all the room in the world to train this animal. And so I want to make sure I never punish curiosity. For example, well, let me go in. So, how do we do this? Where do we begin depends on the animal. What I don't want to do is push the animal past their comfort level. And I can understand what pushing too far looks like, what those behaviors look like when I train the animal. The animal could be running or flying away from me, especially if I first show up. If the animal first sees me, it's running or flying away from me, I'm pushing the animal too far. This can also reinforce and create self-injurious behaviors, such as feather destructive behaviors, self-injurious mutilation behaviors such as mutilation, excessive grooming. So I want to start where my animal is already comfortable. Right now, we're working with Bruce, the young American alligator. We're showing all of that in our level 2 membership. We've opened a door for him to come out. And I see curiosity because he goes to certain areas of his tank. And where I've cut out this door, he can see out for the first time. And what I'm seeing is he's starting to lay right in front of that door, and he's observing what's happening around him. So I always tell, and we're getting ready to bring him out, to call him out. And I always tell everybody that's curiosity. Do not walk up next to his cage because you're going to punish it. I need him wanting to move towards things, not retreating away from us. Um, so you'll see how empowering animals through changing environments just escalates their future prevention of behavior issues and concerns. If you like the content that you've seen in this week's Coffee with Critters, take a look at our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. On there, you will find all the different services that we have to offer, including our workshops, Day with the Trainer, our webinars, our live streamed webinars, our recorded webinars, our annual virtual memberships where you can learn in different levels or different species in our podcast, which are extremely popular. And with that, I want to say thank you and happy May. We will not see you next week. Well, maybe we will see you next week because next Sunday at this time, we are going to be a couple hours into our second day of our workshop. So maybe if all the workshop attendees want to, maybe we'll live stream next week somewhere around 9, 10 o'clock. It's going to be, we're just going to go live. But I will see you back for our regular scheduled episodes of Coffee with the Critters the week after that. All right. So take care, everybody. Happy May, and we will see you next week.